Hello, in this video I'm going to solve the first question of this paper. Let us read the question. Solve the equation 4 times sine theta plus tan theta equals to 0 for theta between 0 degrees and 180 degrees. That would be a good idea if you pause the video at this point and try to solve the problem yourself first. If you do the calculations correctly, the answer that you will get will be theta equals to 104.5 degrees. Okay, now let us solve the problem. The first thing that we want to do, we want to replace tangent theta with its famous formula. So instead of tangent, we can plug this expression in. Then we will get this one. But of course here I have an equation involved with a fraction. The best thing to do is to get rid of fractions by multiplying both sides by the greatest common denominator, which in this case is cosine theta. So if I multiply both sides of that equation by cosine theta, I will have this. But then I am allowed to multiply this inside here and there, and of course this becomes simply 0. But then this cosine theta here and that cosine theta here can be simplified, then I get this expression. But you see that I have a sine theta here and a sine theta there, and on the right hand side I have 0. So this motivates me to factor sine theta out. And now what's happening? I have a number which is still I don't know. I have another number which I don't know, but I know something. I know that when I multiply them, the answer becomes 0. So this means that either the first one, sine theta is 0, or the second one, 4 cosine theta plus 1 equals to 0. But of course here, if I ask you what cosine theta is, then of course you can rewrite it again. Either sine theta is equal to 0 or cosine theta is equal to minus 1 over 4. So this equation is now giving me two equations that I have to solve. So let me number them. So this equation number 1 and that equation number 2. So let us concentrate on equation number 1. Okay, but you know that if sine theta is equal to 0, then theta is a multiple of 180 degrees. What kind of multiple? An integer multiple. Okay, but of course, if I start plugging the integer numbers in, I get the following list for angles. Yes, for example, if I put minus 2, I get this one. If I put minus 1, I get this one. If I put 0, I get this one, and so forth. But as you see, none of them are actually in this interval. So it means that even though, generally speaking, all these angles are solutions to this equation, but none of them is in this interval, so will not accept them. Okay, but we also have the second alternative. Okay, but you also know that if cosine of a box is equal to a k, and k is between minus 1 and 1, then what is inside the box is plus or minus cosine inverse of k plus a multiple of 360 degrees. What kind of multiple? An integer multiple. Okay, so if I use the same idea here, theta becomes plus or minus cosine inverse of minus 1 over 4 plus 360 degrees times m, and of course m is an integer. Okay, now let us use the calculator to calculate this. In the instructions of this exam, it is given that whenever it is not specifically specified, explicitly specified, you have to calculate the angles in degrees up to 1 decimal point. Okay, so I will go to my calculator and calculate this in degree mode up to 1 decimal point. Okay, so I use GeoGebra so that you can also see how calculate this. So I go to the functions, I press cosine inverse, and then I have minus 1 over 4. And then as you see, the angle is 104.4775 degrees. But if I want to round it up to 1 decimal point, the answer becomes 104.5 degrees. Okay, so now let us go back to the solution. Okay, so this is the answer we got. Okay, and now what we do, we plug this in. So theta becomes plus or minus 104.5 degrees and plus 360 degrees m. And of course, m is an integer, but no matter what integer I choose, except 0, I will have an angle which is not within the given interval. So the only possible choice for me is to choose m equals to 0. Of course, it will give rise to two solutions, but one solution is negative, which is not within this interval. So the second alternative will be my answer. So the only solution to this equation up to 1 decimal point is this 104.5 degrees. I hope that this video was useful for you. Until the next video, be safe and goodbye. Thank you.